Hi all, and welcome to our final summer episode of the Culinary Cougar. Today we are making, who doesn't love biscuits? I know I love biscuits. You could use them for something like jelly. You can put butter on them. You could put, if you're a sausage gravy kind of person, which my grandparents were, I always thought it looked kind of gross, but you do you. Lots of things you can use biscuits for. You can put some chicken in there. It's all delicious. So we're going to make biscuits today. Let me show you what we've got. As far as equipment, what you're going to need is you're going to need a whisk and a wooden spoon, which we've got right here. Okay, I've got a measuring cup. It measures 1 cup. Okay, my measuring spoons, my handy dandy measuring spoons. I have a liquid measuring cup. I actually have a glass, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that later. If you have something that will work in a similar fashion, you go ahead and use it. Okay. As far as food ingredients, what you're going to need, we've got baking powder. This is not baking soda that comes in the box and you stick it in your fridge. This is baking powder. You don't want to mix up the two. Your biscuits will be super weird if you get them mixed up. Okay, you're going to need some heavy whipping cream. If you've got some left over from when we made our ice cream last week, it'll be perfect. A little bit of salt. And then we've got flour here, sugar here. All right, and I'm going to show you what I did to get ready for today's recipe because I did a little prep work ahead of time. All right, first of all, I've got our baking sheet right here. Your recipe says to put parchment paper on it. I can't find my parchment paper because I am an organized mess right now. So I put some tin foil on it and I greased the tin foil a little bit because I don't know if these biscuits are going to stick or not. We'll find out. Hopefully not. I also heated my oven up to a balmy 450 degrees. It's pretty warm in there and it takes a little bit of time, so I wanted to make sure that I got that done in advance. And the last thing is I moved the rack. Okay, you can see the wire rack there. It's like second from the top. All right, it says the upper middle position in your recipe that you got. Okay, so let's get started. This recipe really is very, very easy. Okay, you're going to take a bowl. I take that bowl right now. List of things I said you needed, but you need a bowl too, so add that. To your bowl, you're going to add like 3 or 4 different things. Actually, 4. Okay, so we need, first off, did you hear that pop? The pop top on my flour. Here's my flour. Hey, flour. I've got my dry measuring cup. Whoa, that's way too close. And I'm going to pull that back a little bit so you can actually see it. Just our camera work. We're totally professionals here. Okay, and what you're going to need is you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, and you're going to dip, and actually let me get a butter knife too. Here's my butt. Okay. Dip in, oof, and sometimes that happens, and that's okay. You dip it until it's like over the top, and then you make it so it's like nice and flat across the top. So there's 1 cup. A little slower that time so I don't cause a giant flour fart all over my kitchen. Okay, and then we've got a 2nd cup of flour. So that is 2. But don't put your flour away. You're going to need it again in a second. Boop, putting it aside. 2 cups of flour in the bowl. Okay, to my 2 cups of flour, I'm going to pop 2 teaspoons of sugar. Don't get your flour and your sugar mixed up because you will have hot mess biscuits. If you do, nobody wants hot mess biscuits. So here is my teaspoon. I actually got the measurement correct that time. I think you guys are out there watching me. So there's 1 teaspoon and 2 teaspoons all the way. And we're done with our sugar. Baking powder, again, not baking soda. You need 2 teaspoons of baking powder also. You notice at the top of the can, like part of it's flat. Baking powder tends to come like that, and I'll show you what that's for. Okay, there is a purpose. There's a purpose to this. Okay, so I get this big heaping teaspoon of baking powder. I don't need all of that. So what you do, just stick it in. And it kind of comes with a pre-built-in, leveler. So you can just plop it in there. Let me show you again for effect. You dip it, big hopping teaspoon in there. That's too much. We don't want that. It's going to taste funny. Okay, so scrape it off, level it off. I don't know why flour doesn't come with that. How nice would that be? There is our baking powder. And the last thing we're going to add for now is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So here's my salt. Okay. Here's my 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 for those of you playing at home. Oops. And there is my salt. And you're gonna whisk all of your dry ingredients together. That's pretty common. You combine all like the powdered stuff, the dry ingredients, and then you add what they call the wet ingredients to it afterwards. I could explain the science to you. I probably knew it once. I forgot though. Okay. I have learned by trial and error that it's really important to follow the directions when you're baking. Otherwise, you end up with some true catastrophes on your hands. So that's all whisked. All your powders, your white powders are mixed together. Plop, plop, plop. Okay, you can't even tell that you really did anything, but it's mixed. The recipe knows it's in there. Okay. The last thing we're going to add to it is 1.5 cups of heavy cream. That's a different measuring cup. So here's the liquid measuring cup. I need 1.5. You double check that, make sure. 1.5 never hurts to double check. Sound effects help. Here it is. 1 cup. There it goes. And I need another half. That was hard to tell. Where's that marking? I'm eating yes. There, and there's a half. Okay. So we have our dry ingredients. We have our wet ingredients. You can put that aside. Take your wooden spoon. Mine's a little stained because I made jelly last week. It's okay. It's clean. It just doesn't look all that pretty. And then you stir that together until you get a dough. Biscuits, biscuits. Oh yeah, here we go. You can see it's starting to come together. Make sure you get the upper part down. Turn your bowl around. Ta-da! Till we get this beautiful dough that has formed. Scrape all the loose flour into it. Mix it in. Looks like biscuits. We haven't even cooked it yet. Okay. So that is what we've got to work with. There is our beautiful biscuit dough. Okay, the next part is, okay, we are going to take that and we are going to, this is going to sound weird, but who likes to make a mess? I know I do. Okay. Making any kind of like a bread-like product, biscuits, things like that, you get to make a little bit of a mess. Okay, so I'm going to take just a pinch of flour, okay, just a little bit like that, and I'm going to spread it all over my counter, kind of spread it around. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take, hey, I'm down here now. You're going to take your dough and you're going to put it on your counter, and this prevents it from sticking to the counter and then getting dough all over the place. So let's scrape this dough out. Okay, get as much of that stuff that's on your bowl out as you can. Even if you got some loose flour, that's okay. Okay, I'm going to pinch off my spoon here. Make sure your hands are clean for this part. Okay, you should wash your hands before you're cooking every time. Just get into that habit, but especially now. Okay, so what we're going to do is, okay, kind of gather it into a ball, a little bit like meow, and you're going to knead it for 30 seconds, okay? So if you just want to count to 30 in your mind, you know, 30, 1,000, 29, 1,000, count down. So kneading looks like this. You kind of squeeze it together, turn it up on its end, and then kind of go down, okay? There's really, I mean, it's not an exact science. If you need to add more flour, like if it starts to stick, you go ahead and do that. What this is doing is it's activating all that beautiful gluten that we've got in your flour, and it's going to make your biscuits nice and chewy. I do need a little bit more flour. I didn't add enough. Look at all that. What a mess. You don't want to add too much because it'll make your biscuits a little bit dry, but you definitely don't want it to stick. Here we're kneading. Want to sing like a little song in your head, an eating song, you go ahead and make one up. Okay. Get this nice little pretty dough ball when you're done. You don't want to over knead it either because your biscuits will be tough. But even, you know, if they're a little tough, they're still fine. Just fix it next time, no big deal. Spread my flour out here. Okay. And then you want to kind of tamp it down until it is less than an inch. Your recipe says 3/4 of an inch. That's most of an inch, but not a whole inch. So that's thick like that to a circle. Now, have you been wondering what I wanted to use that glass for? Let me show you. Okay. My cookie cutters are all packed up with the Christmas stuff. I could get them out. I was too lazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glass as a cookie cutter. I'm going to press it down into that dough. And voila, I have a biscuit. Okay. Look at it. It's a biscuit. I'm going to keep doing that until I have several biscuits. Okay, I'm going to put them on my cookie sheet, which I left over here, as we go. Okay, bring it over, bring it a little closer. I'll show you again. Okay, glass, biscuit. It's a biscuit. Got 2 biscuits. Get over there. Okay. Put your biscuits as close as you can to each other in your little dough area here. I probably should have added more flour, but it's not a super big deal. I'll add it in a second. Okay, cut your biscuit. 4 biscuits. I'm going to gather my dough back up, add a little bit more flour because it started to stick to my counter. Didn't want that. We want all of our dough to be used for biscuits. Tamp it down again so it's about the same thickness it was before. Part. And away we go. I think I can get 3 of them this time. Let's see. That sound is kind of, you hear that? Wait, listen, listen. Ah, didn't do it that time. Okay, gather it up again. I don't think I need to add more flour this time because I have enough here from last time. Make sure if you're making sure that they're all about the same thickness as they were before, then they will all cook at the same speed. You don't get some burnt and some all doughy grossness. You don't want that. Biscuit. I think I can get 1 more. Actually. I got 9 biscuits out of this. It's not bad at all. Okay, you might be able to, if you want one kind of more done biscuit, you can just put that in there just like that. So we'll make it like a 9.8 biscuit. That one will just be a little bit more cooked than the other ones. Put that right on your thing. There's my cookie sheet. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in my oven, which is all preheated 450 degrees on that rack that's just above the middle. And I'm going to wait for 15 minutes. Okay, so put a timer on your phone. Tell your smart assistant, like your Siri, hey, set an alarm for 15 minutes so you don't forget it because you want to eat these biscuits. So I'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Don't be late. Hey, I'm back. It's been actually just a little bit more than 15 minutes. I've had my eye on the biscuits. They are golden brown, so I'm going to take them out because it's time. Don't forget this. You don't want to put your hand in the oven. Ta-da! Remove and display because they are truly lovely biscuits. So you can eat them again, how I said at the beginning, however you'd like to. They're really hot right now, so you might want to give them a few minutes to cool off. I have some leftover garlic butter from the other day, so I'm going to put that on. Maybe later have one with a little bit of some of the strawberry jelly that I made. So it's totally up to you. If you don't feel like eating all the biscuits in one day, you can put them in the freezer for a couple of weeks and they'll be just fine. You can take them out as you want. So I hope you've enjoyed this season of the Culinary Cougar, and we hope to see you again here for season 2, and enjoy the rest of your culinary experience. And don't forget to do the dishes. Bye.